Hello everyone, Michael the Librarian of Magic here, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. Today is October 25th, and I have another villain drawing today in this last week of the series. Today's character is a very minor but very memorable character in my opinion. Sort of villainous, bullyish character. And this will be a little short video today about this character here, named Smitty, or also sometimes credited as Skinny, from Dumbo. He's basically in a scene of Dumbo, but I think it's a very memorable role, and it's an important one too because it really matters in the plot. Basically, there's this circus right after Dumbo is born, and this group of kids come in. Smitty is sort of the leader of these kids. And he starts teasing Dumbo for having big ears, which is pretty hypocritical of him, don't you think? He's got pretty big ears himself. And he starts mocking Dumbo and flapping his coat and everything. And Dumbo's mom, Mrs. Jumbo, sees what's going on, and she pulls Dumbo out of the way to try to protect him and get him out of the way. And then Smitty crosses the line by going into the elephant enclosure and pulling Dumbo out by the tail and continuing to tease him and blowing in his ears and things like that. And Mrs. Jumbo finally loses her cool, and she grabs Smitty and starts spanking him. And the circus then makes the decision to lock up Mrs. Jumbo and separate her from Dumbo to avoid future incidents in one of the great injustices in film history, that she gets locked up. And then it's very sad because Dumbo goes out to see her at night and she's crying. It's just very, very sweet and very emotional because of all of the problems that Smitty eventually causes. So I think it's a very memorable little character, and like I say, important to the plot of Dumbo. In design, it's a pretty similar character to Lampwick from Pinocchio. Similar bully character, some similar facial characteristics and sound and everything. They probably used a lot of his character model to create this character pretty easily. There were a lot of money-saving features on this film. It was a very economical approach because the movies before this, Fantasia and Pinocchio, had not been very financially successful, and this was right at the beginning of the war years as well, so things were getting pretty lean. On top of all of that, there was a strike at Walt Disney Animation Studios amongst many, many people in the animation department. So the Disney studio was dealing with a lot during this period, and they did a lot of cost-saving measures. This isn't a very long movie. It's only like 64 minutes long, something like that. And people remember it well. It turned out good, and they remember the plot well, which is why I think sometimes the runtime is surprising to people because it just doesn't occur to you that it comes in at such a short time. They also did some interesting things like use a lot of watercolors in the backgrounds as a technique to save money on paints and colors and stuff for the backgrounds, which they only did a couple other times throughout their history. There were a handful of very notable people who were animation directors on this film. Bill Teitla, Fred Moore, Ward Kimball, who I've talked about before, John Lounsbury, Wooly Reitherman, you've heard some of these names before, and Arthur Babbitt were directors. There are lots of other younger animators that worked on these characters in this film as well. A lot of younger talent, because of the animation strike, was busy working on this film, and some of the more veteran talent were working on Bambi, which was the film that was coming out after this. At that point, they kind of split a lot of the remaining animators they had left onto these different projects. And they also wanted to get this one out quickly. They needed to make some money, like I say, because of some of the financial losses they had with Pinocchio and Fantasia. So that's just a kind of a tiny little bit about Dumbo. There's a lot that has been written and stuff about it, and there's a lot of interesting things about this era of Disney animation, and this movie in particular is kind of an important one in the career of Walt Disney. But Smitty here is kind of integral to that story. He was voiced by Malcolm Hutton, an actor named Malcolm Hutton, who was a child actor of the day, who really only appeared in a handful of roles between the late 30s and early 40s, and then didn't really take on anything else. And it looks like he just wasn't involved in acting or showbiz or anything like that after his childhood. He moved away and did other things, but he was in, credited in 7 or 8 different things in the late 30s, early 40s, and this is one of them. And he does a good job here. It's just a role that has always stuck with me, maybe because of the injustice that occurs. It always kind of bothered me when I was a kid. I had a soft spot for this movie and a soft spot for Dumbo, which I think is the goal of the story. And it's always so sad when Mrs. Jumbo is trying to do the right thing and she gets punished for it. So, Smitty, classic jerk. That's a good one. So, yeah, this is just kind of a short video about him. Very minor but very memorable character. And I hope you enjoyed it. I thought the drawing turned out really well. I was very happy with it, and it was fun to be able to do. I don't know what made me think of it. I think I wanted to represent Dumbo in some way and talk a little bit about Dumbo, so I thought of drawing Smitty because, like I say, it's a character that always stuck with me. So thanks as always for watching these. I hope this was entertaining and informative, and join me tomorrow when I'll have another villain drawing, and every day for the rest of October. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.